Alright people, today I'm just going to make a video, probably relatively long, on multi-threading and game hacking. Most people do not think that you should multi-thread if you're internal. They're just like, fucking, you're hooking NScene or whatever and you shouldn't multi-thread. But the truth is, it should be used for both external and internal cheats. If you do correctly, there's going to be a place for it. If you do it wrong, it's going to really fuck some shit up. So it's really important that you follow like a correct kind of framework for doing it. You stay consistent. But I'm just going to be kind of speed coding a CSGO little external cheat just to keep things simple. I'm not really going to describe or explain too much of what I'm doing. I'll explain everything that's multi-thread related. But yeah, so the way it's going to work is I'm going to have 3 threads. I'm going to have the GUI thread, I'm going to have the cheat thread, I'm going to have the main thread. GUI thread is going to be responsible for window, DirectX, render. Cheat thread is going to be responsible for read-write. That's like read and writing memory. The main thread is going to manage the other threads. This is kind of what I'm going to go off of. So yeah, I already have a little project created. All it has is it's got these 3 files, which just include the headers, and the headers are just empty classes. So I've got a class GUI manager, class cheat manager, and I have just included these in the main file. It's really important before you start that you go up here, you go to linker system, and by default, you're going to be on the console subsystem. So it's important you set it to Windows subsystem because it's going to be creating a overlay. And the entry point to Windows applications is int, and you can do WinAPI to specify standard call, WinMain. Again, I'm not really going to go into too much depth of what I'm doing here. If I could spell, that would be great as well. Okay, so I'm going to create a utility header file first. Call this utility.h, and we can define a class utility, which is just going to hold a bunch of static functions. Holy shit. Static void create console, static void destroy console, and we will define these. So I'm going to try not to talk too much until I get to the actual part where I'm coding the multi-thread stuff, which is going to be in probably a few minutes, but I know a lot of people actually want to see the full code process, so I'm just going to leave that in. But everything I'm doing in here should be taken with a grain of salt. Holy dude. I have not coded in like a week, so that would explain why I'm spelling shit really badly. Create console, destroy console. I think that's what we want. Okay. And just to make sure, Alright, so should just print hello once. If it doesn't, something wrong. Yep, okay, so everything's working for the subsystem. That's good. So now I'm going to kind of define these classes. So one important thing about multi-threading, at least the way I like to do it, is you should create the thread from the constructor so that you can privatize all the other members. So the way this looks is cheat manager, and I'm going to define a structure that contains screen information. So struct screen, you can pass it in x, in y, in w, in height. It's going to contain int x, y, int width, height. And then I also want a constructor that you pass in nothing. And in that case, we're going to set everything so that you can still see the window. It's a good way to debug it. 400 equals 300. Cool. All right, so we have the structure defined. I'm going to take in an H instance, and let me include some files up here. So we want to include the DirectX libraries. That's important. So windows.h, hashtag include string, include a vector. Oops, why not? We're going to include mutex because we're multi-threading. D3D9, D3DX9, and then link against the libraries. This is just a Visual Studio thing. You can also put this in the linker, D3DX9, I think that's right. And I want to include, I don't want to do that actually. Okay, cool. So GUI manager is going to take an H instance, and it's going to take a screen, which is the window, and then we're going to have a screen pointer, m underscore screen, H instance, and m underscore H instance. What else? We're going to have a handle to the window, have a LP direct 3D9, m underscore D3D, LP direct 3D device 9, m underscore D3D dev, LP direct 3D vertex buffer 9. Don't worry about this stuff. I probably won't even create the vertex buffer for this, but it's good to have there just in case. And then a void run, a bool init, and then some DirectX functions, bool init d3d, void render frame, and a void clean d3d, static l result. I'm just kind of doing this off the top of my head too. So if I fuck like anything up, I'll find it eventually, but I've done a lot of window programming and stuff, if you guys are wondering like what I'm doing. So I've done like a fuck ton of GUI stuff. That's why this is all pretty familiar for me. And my mic just died, but it's good now. I think what I was saying is it's really not too complicated once you kind of get familiar with it. So just keep that in mind. Define all these functions in GUI Manager. First, GUI Manager. And so this is where the multi-threading stuff is going to start to come into play in this constructor right here. So I think we said the constructor takes a, yeah, let's do this instead. So You could use a thread pool if you want, but what I'm gonna do instead is keep it nice and simple. So the way this works, and the way that this is going to work for all the classes, is down here at the bottom of your constructor. You're going to call std thread, and let me make sure I'm including thread. Not. You're going to go std thread, and then you're going to pass in the address of the function that you're trying to create the thread on. You don't need to do this part, but and then it wants a pointer to, this is how it works for member functions. You can't just pass in, like if I wanted, I couldn't just pass in run. This isn't going to work. You're going to get an error. It's not a argument type because it is a non-static function. You want static functions. So again, you're going to pass in the address of the function first off. And then you're going to pass in a pointer to the object that you want it to run on, which is just this. This obviously contains a pointer to the object. So yeah, that's pretty simple. And then you're going to detach from the main thread. And so this right here is going to handle everything multi-thread related. Now if I actually set up this function, let me copy this to make things easier. We can do while true. Truth RE GUI. And sleep for 2000 seconds. STDs, yeah, okay, cool. So this is going to print truth GUI, and then in our source, the way that we do this is GUI manager equals GUI manager, just like this. So nice and simple. And then it wants an H instance, and it also wants an instance of a screen. So in order to get the screen, we're going to have to define actually in here the function for it. I'm going to go ahead and include GUI manager from this file. And I'm going to have a static screen screen pointer get screen. This function is going to look like what's the best way I could get it? I think I should probably I can use find window. What's this called? Counter-Strike Global Offensive Dash Direct X9. I think that was it. If not, I'll find out shortly. Rect, get window rect, window, address of rect, and then I'm gonna create a return new GUI manager screen, and I'll pass through rect.left, rect.top, rect.right minus rect.left, rect.bottom minus rect.top, and that will just return our new screen. So that's all we need for that. Now in our source, we can do GUI manager screen pointer game screen equals just like that, and then we'll pass through game screen. So now if we create a little loop here, we just print, and then sleep for 2,000 seconds. We should see both of our threads should work just fine. Yep, main thread, GUI thread, main thread, GUI thread. So cool. So this is the multi-threading stuff is working correctly. So that's kind of the point of the video, was to showcase this right here, this technique. But I know people are going to give me shit if I were to end the video here, so instead I'm just going to finish coding this fucking cheat and get into mutexes a little later on in the video. So I'm probably not going to talk too much for this part, but oh well. I need to, so I'm going to create a window is the first thing I'm going to do. Class X dot style equals CSH redraw CSV redraw. Rock equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need color. I need class name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Cool. And I'm going to register the class and then return this dot init d3d. Up here, holy. And we can just return since it's a constructor. Let's define this. Okay, this dot m underscore d3d equals direct 3d create 9. The reason I'm using DirectX 9 is because it's what the game uses, and even though it doesn't matter since we're external, I typically like to keep it simple. And if you guys think DirectX 9 is hard, you should try DirectX 10. It's really fucking confusing if you don't know what you're doing. And I'm not too good at it. I'm more familiar with DirectX 9. So yeah, you're just gonna have to bear with me for this. Device window. This dot and back buffer format equals d3d format a RAGA B8 d3d dot back shit. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What else am I missing? d3d pp dot windowed equals true. H result device created equals this dot d3d dot create device d3d adapter default. Okay, so an important thing here, you actually have to create the window inside the thread that you're calling window proc on. It's a thread specific thing. So since this is being called, ideally this init should be moved to this run. And now with this, what I can do is call this dot handle the window equals create window x overlapped class name. I think I called it cheat class. Yep. Truth re insane ESP tutorial pop up. This dot screen dot x, this dot screen dot y, and we're just going to build it right on top of the game window. We're not going to worry about resizing yet. That will come later. H instance. Oh, it's a long function, but it's pretty simple. Okay, and then we need to call show window. This dot handle the window and SW show, and then I'm gonna set layered window attributes. This dot handle window, RGB, and this will allow the transparency so that it looks like we're drawing on top of the game window, but that is not important now. I just want to make sure the window actually works. And cool, we'll return the init d3d. So now in our while true, I'm gonna have a while peak message and a message. Shit. Message. This dot handle the window 00 PM remove. And in here, I am going to translate message. And this is just basic Windows Windows stuff. This is very, very fucking simple, guys. And I'm not kidding when I say that. And we'll call this dot render frame. GUI manager render frame. And we'll just define this while we're here. Clear the back buffer. Begin the scene. And present with null parameters. Cool. Everything that we draw will be done in here. So I think it's safe to say we should give this a run. Block this out real quick. And let's try it. Hopefully it renders a window on top of the game window. Or actually, let's hope that it can compile first. GUI manager, window proc, private bool, this external symbol. Copy that. Oh, I didn't define this function, did I? Just a basic Windows message handler. I'm not going to handle any messages yet, but if you guys want to actually create good external hacks, it's very important that you do stuff in here, like case wn key down, instead of just using fucking get cursor pose like a fucking idiot. So I'll maybe do something on that in the future, but again, for now, I'm not. Okay, so fail to create DirectX device, error initializing. So something is happening in here. Be present parameters, just m underscore handle the window. That should be created by now. I think we should check to see if the screen is actually obtained. Game screen.x. And I'll just start with that. Yeah, that's a fucking really weird. I don't know what it's getting, but let's do this actually. Yeah, so it's not getting the game window. Let's see why. Sheet manager, what did I spell wrong? Counter dash strike, global offensive dash direct 3D. There we go. And there we go. You can see the window is directly over the CSGO window. That's perfect. Now what I can do is call set layered window attributes, and this will make it transparent. Actually, there's a couple other things I need to do. I need to add in WS X layered WS X transparent. And now this should appear transparent. And it does. Cool. Can't even tell it's there. So it's perfect. Now just to test this out, I'm gonna create a little box or little red box just to make sure that the DirectX is actually being drawn. And this .d3ddev.clear one and rect d3d clear target. This is not the correct way to draw recs, by the way. I know a lot of people online will say it is, but it's not. You should be using vertex buffers. They're much better. And I should set this to topmost. That's important. So it could be that I'm defining the rect right there. And that's probably it, actually, now that I think of it. But that's not really important for this part. I go here, I'm gonna just create a function. And yeah, now that I think of it, I think I do know the issue. But let me just fix that real quick. I'll add my drawRect function. And you could have this in another nested class that's something like GUI draw. But for this tutorial, I'm not making a fucking page sheet. So x, y, x plus w, y plus h. This dot d3d dev dot clear one and rect d3d clear target 3d. I'm just gonna not define a color yet. Whatever. Try this now. D3D color. And in here, we're gonna go this dot draw rect. Say we want it 100, 100, 20, 20, D3D color. I think that's a purple. And there we go. Cool. So yeah, that was the issue. Now if I go back and reset this to what it's supposed to be, to 0, you'll see it looks like we will just have a little floating box over the game window. So That's good that we got that working. We're gonna have to resize the window. So since we're using a pointer, we're gonna want to resize the window. So I want to pass a callback function that says resize, or rather move window, which is really easy. All we're gonna have to do is in our manage loop, what we can do is call get screen, um, um, game screen equals cheat manager get screen, and then we can move window, and we'll grab the handle to the window. Alright guys, I just looked at the recording and I found out that my mic was on mute, but which is really fucking annoying, but I'm just going to include a sped up version of that footage there because it just kind of shows everything I did. I really just made it so that the window automatically resizes and redraws around the game window. And I also I started working on this game data struct. So what I'm going to do now is kind of define a thread safe structure, because the GUI manager is going to be reading from this, right, to get to display it, and the cheat manager is going to be writing to it. So this is kind of a cool little technique you can use with mutexes when you're working around structures, because obviously you can only have atomic primitive data types. But what I can do is have a private std mutex mute, and in here I can do lock void unlock, and the way I would define these is this dot mute dot lock, this dot unlock. And now the way that you would use this class, have some sort of game data structure. So in both of these, in the GUI manager, for example, I'm going to have a game data pointer m underscore data. And I'm going to do the same thing in here. And ideally, you would initialize the constructors with this data. So I'm just going to do that. And so back here in main, I'm going to create a game data pointer data equals new game data. And this can be initialized to 0 in the struct. and I'm not going to fill in the rest of that. Doesn't really matter. But for these, I just pass through data. And now to just kind of showcase this, I'm going to go ahead and make a string for name, and the default is going to be truth.re when you initialize. So to kind of showcase this, we have both these being passed in our constructor. And in GUI Manager, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock around printing the name right here. And then in Cheat Manager, what I'm going to do, actually, before I do this, I'm going to comment this out and kind of show you guys what it looks like if you don't do this. Cheat Manager, this is, let's say this is where I'm reading. Let's say I want this dot game data dot name equals truth.re. Actually, let's go if I mod 10 equals 0. I just do if I mod 10 equals 0, so every 10th term. This dot game data dot name equals haha. Else this dot game data dot name equals. So every 10th iteration, it should be haha. Now if I run this, you're gonna see it's gonna work, but it's gonna be really fucking not reliable. You're gonna see if I pause this, you got haha re, trut, all this shit, and this is all like a matter of race condition. So when you're dealing with, let's say floats or coordinates, it's really gonna, it very well could truncate or really fuck up whatever you're trying to read and write to. So now if we just go and lock this, lock the mutex around what we're doing, and if this will allow us to do positive reads. Actually, this wouldn't matter so long as I don't have anything in here. We undo this and now we can expect to see there's no overwrites or anything. Now everything is nice. Haha, you don't have any of that, those weird strings. Everything is in very good condition. And this is really just data protection. So everything's working how it's supposed to be. I think showing this, I think I'm going to end the video here. I know this has kind of turned into a massive ESP coding fucking video. I'm going to try and edit this best as I can, but to make it not too boring. But for the most part, hopefully you guys took something away from this, making your threads from constructors like so. And ultimately, if you guys want another video, just tell me in the Discord, and I can maybe turn this into a actual ESP instead of just a showcase. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Just make sure to like the video and tell me what you guys want to see next. So yeah, peace out.